Hello, 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 and welcome to our latest HR on the Offensive live stream. And today I am joined by our People and Workplace Director, Executive Director, Abby East. Abby, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Hi, Chris.
Really, really glad to have you on. This is you're debuting on one of our channels for the first time, aren't you?
Yeah, indeed. Very exciting.
Yeah, so it's really exciting to have you on. And what we wanted to talk about today is it's a little bit of a shameless plug promo. So apology. Actually, I make no apologies for that because as of last week, we were awarded the Great Place to Work award for medium-sized businesses. So across the UK, there is an entity which many people have probably heard of called the Great Places to Work Award. And each year they do a small category, a medium category, and then a large category. And we finished in 7th, which was actually the best that we got. I've actually got the very heavy 2023 award because we haven't received our physical award just yet. But this was the 3rd year that we've reached the Best Places to Work award, and it's the first year actually that we hit the medium company category, because as a business we've grown quite substantially over the last year. There's just under 100 of us now, and what we wanted to do today is I wanted to get Abby on just to talk a little bit about some of the things that we do to be able to support our people, and why we're really proud of that as well. So Abby, I'm going to ask you just a few questions, and I guess the plan really for the next sort of 10 minutes or so is to talk through, to give any kind of bits that we've done as a business around engagement and listening. And if anyone's listening in and they want to take any tips or tricks back to their own businesses, then that's great as well.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool. So I guess the first one really is, why are we so delighted with the award? Apart from the fact that I get another huge sort of glass plaque, which looks amazing, why are we so proud of that? So, what's your kind of thought from that perspective?
Yeah, I think you've touched on it already a little bit, Chris. So, last year, as you say, we were 23rd in the small category, and we did a huge amount of growth last year. We had 38 new joiners in a year, which was no mean feat, actually. And despite that growth, and having moved up a category into the medium-sized companies category, to have improved so radically on our score, it's really good news for us. We're delighted with being recognised as the 7th best medium-sized company to work for in the UK.
Yeah, hitting the top 10 for the first time, which certainly is something that we're really proud of. But let's talk about the specifics as to the type of things that we do. Obviously, the Great Place to Work award, the way that it works is it's an algorithm that's taken from not just 1 year, but over a number of years. So this is our 3rd year of being in it. And we survey our entire business as well. But can you put a little bit of colour and context, if you like, into how we engage people and the types of things that we do at Lace Partners?
Sure. Well, I think from our very first interaction with people, we like to pride ourselves on being a friendly and inclusive place to work. So our interview and our onboarding process are both really friendly, more of a chat, really, get to know you, because cultural fit is so important for us. So from pre-joining, once we've decided that you're joining us, for our early careers cohort, for example, we got them all together, they met their people managers, we took them all out for lunch so that day one was a little bit less scary for them. We also give people buddies. And obviously, we give them a huge Lace welcome on day one with gifts galore flying around on Teams.
Everyone, I can certainly testify to the gifts. We do love a gift at Lace.
We do love a gift. I'm going to be mentioning that a few times this afternoon, I'm sure, because it's a big part of who we are. So we love gifts, but we also we give everyone a Lace hoodie, so it's kind of our unofficial uniform when you're working from home, as I am today. Everyone gets a Lace hoodie with their initials on the sleeves. It's a really nice little welcome gift to make people feel that they're part of the family. People get a buddy, so someone to ask those silly questions you feel a bit embarrassed to ask anyone else. So you've got that kind of prop, that emotional support for the first few weeks with Lace. And then once you're here, the fun really starts. So it's all about socials, it's about fun. There's always something going on, whether it's our CSR events or our DEI sessions that we run. So just to give you a flavour of some of the CSR things that we've done this year, we have 3 nominated charities each year, and they're voted for by our people, nominated first of all, and then voted for by our people. So it's causes that are close to our hearts. Last year, we 2 of our charities that we supported were Young Minds, and we did at the Thames Path Challenge. So we walked 16 miles along the Thames Path in blistering heat. It was that really hot day in September, for those who remember it. To raise money for Young Minds. We did litter picking for Surfers Against Sewage, which was another of our charities. And this year, a load of Lacers are taking to the streets to do the Royal Marsden March in aid of the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity this year. So it's a great way to engage people, get them behind a good cause, a cause that's close to their hearts. In addition to that, we have family trees. There are kind of departments, if you like. They're kind of a support structure once you join LACE. So every exec has a family tree, and we try to put a mix of people in each family tree so that you start to get a grip of the different areas of the business and you understand those. And as Eva mentioned, we have multiple Teams channels, from in-test groups to social groups to things about the office, sharing news, all sorts of different stuff, along with all of those gifts that we mentioned before.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, the hoodies are particularly comfortably, not that I'm biased or anything, but they are certainly good when the weather starts to drop, as we've had done over the winter period. And I think the buddy system as well is quite an interesting one as well, because there is often particularly if you're just a relatively new entrant into the world of work, into the workforce, and just being able to ask, as you said, those questions, which is like, oh, where do you find that? Or how do you do that? And you don't want to always, like, if I just think about my experience when I was when I first took my first couple of jobs, sometimes you're almost a bit like, I don't want to keep going to my line manager for absolutely everything. So having that buddy is quite a positive thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. And it feels a little bit less daunting to ask those silly questions that you just kind of think, oh, I'm a bit embarrassed to ask someone else, but I'll ask my buddy because they're a safe place.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I thought was interesting, just before I asked the next sort of question around employee listening, was really around that CSR stuff. And I think the CSR stuff's interesting because obviously there's the whole, you're doing it for charity and it's a good way to give back and things like that. But actually, one of the benefits, I think, is meeting new people that you don't normally work with within your collaborative working groups.
Exactly.
So, for example, if we work obviously with clients, and there's people working on client projects, and there'll be people in my team that will be working on marketing projects and things like that. But actually being able to have those kind of, it's almost like it doesn't always have to be, a social, like going off to the pub or going out for a meal or stuff like that. It's an opportunity to engage with people and just to talk to people from across the business and learn a bit about them. So like the Marsden March that you talked about, that's what I think is a really, really sort of interesting angle, that we tend to do quite a lot of socializing on the CSR stuff as well, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so the Marsden March is a great example, and it's not just our employees who we call Lacers. It's not just our Lacers that are involved, but we're bringing along our family members. So I've wrote my 2 daughters in, for example. People are bringing along their other halves or their fathers or whatever. So it's a really nice way to just get your family involved and do something for a good cause, like you say.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about how we what the types of things that we do to help one another. I guess it's quite an open sort of question, but I think you've got a few thoughts on that.
Is really good at helping one another. I think we're a very approachable group, so we're a very non-hierarchical organisation. Obviously, we have the different levels to be able to bill our clients for our expertise, but internally, you don't really see that hierarchy. So we have very much an open door policy. No question is a silly question. You can ask for help and it will be there. So that's one of the things that I think is really special about LACE. We have squads of people that are interested in particular areas. So whether they've got some expertise or it's just something that interests them and they want to know more about. That's something, again, that I think is quite unique to LACE. And there's plenty of opportunity for on-the-job and off-the-job learning. So we try to give people new and exciting things to do in a safe environment, scaffolded by people who are experienced in things on projects. And then there's all sorts of learning and development opportunities run by the fabulous Fatima in my team to upskill and to learn new things. So, for example, we have a very informal Take a Break to Educate series that happens every fortnight. And we have people from around the business coming to do sessions while we have our lunch, and we just tune into the session. And it's a relaxed and interactive way to kind of upskill in certain areas. So we've had sessions on Excel. We've had Excel whiz kids teaching us all the tricks within Excel. We've had PowerPoint sessions. We've had sessions on how to run workshops, on change management, you name it. There's all sorts of different topics, and there's something in there for everyone. So I think that's a really nice way that we support each other as well.
Yeah, I think as well, there's an element of innovation there that naturally sort of builds from that too. I think we've got together our innovation sort of hubs collectively, and I've talked on a couple of podcasts, both with external sort of experts, but also internally as well, how innovation can be fostered through the collaboration of ideas. And so having that opportunity to learn from others, I think, is really important. And we aren't perfect. It's not like we all sort of sit here and all come up with fantastic ideas all of the time, but sometimes it's just the simplest things that can trigger a thought that then can help to evolve when you've got those groups of people that, again, going back to the CSR point that I made, it's around collaborating with people that you wouldn't normally always collaborate with and learning from them, and then being innovative with people that perhaps aren't in your immediate working project team, right?
Exactly. And I think another example of sharing those ideas is our news channel. So we have a chat on Teams where if there's an article that's piqued your interest in the news, something in the world of work, perhaps, then people share articles that have interested them. And then that sparks debate and questions and answers around that article. So we've had some really interesting debates around certain topics that have come up recently in the press.
Yeah, and certainly it also enables us. So we work with a lot of chief people officers. It enables us to also share some of the things that we hear with our different networks, shared services, chief people officers, payroll people. So we take that opportunity to then pass on anything that we learn to our people that we engage with, stakeholders as well. Let's talk a little bit around employee listening. So can you give me a little bit of an overview? Give our listeners a little bit of an overview, or our watchers a little bit of an overview of the types of approaches that we take to employee listening. So I've talked a little bit around the fact that the Great Place to Work does a survey in itself, and we obviously analyze that data, but we do a little bit more than that, don't we?
We do a little bit more than that. So just to touch on that one first. So the Great Place to Work survey obviously gave us a load of really valuable data. We had a great response rate from our people. And yes, we got some fantastic scores, including 100% of our people feeling like Lace was the best place for them and that they would recommend it to other people. So we were really proud of that. But there's always room for improvement. So we analysed, we pulled apart the data, and we drew out some themes. And those 3 themes we've turned into an action plan with the help of groups of employees that we've gone round to get input, and we're starting to make some changes to make the place an even better place to work. So that's something we're really proud of. We also did another survey, which was our DEI survey back in the winter. And that was really just to understand what in the DEI space is important to our people so that we can really foster that sense of belonging and inclusion that we're striving to achieve for our people. So understanding their religion, their cultural background, and the things that are interesting and important to them, so that we can then use that information to inform some of the activities that we do in Lace. So a brilliant example you may have seen on social media in the last week or so, but we had Lace Fast. So obviously it's Ramadan at the moment. A couple of our employees do practice Ramadan every year, and we wanted to give people the opportunity to join them in spirit. So they came up with the idea of Lace Fast, and they invited Lacers to fast with them for the day and then to enjoy the breaking of the fast at the end of the day. And that was a brilliant example of how we've brought our DEI strategy to life. And it was a really fun and inclusive way to get together. Other ways that we listen. So we have an ambassador group. So there's a representative from each of our family trees that I mentioned. And I meet with them on a regular basis to get feedback, to disseminate information to them, to really, it's that employee listening group, really. So it's a 2-way flow of information between the exec and our people. We have people managers. So every Lacer will have a people manager and a family tree lead. So that's the exec that is responsible for their kind of section of the organization. And things like, we moved offices last year. We've got a fabulous new office in Southwark. But when we were, so Chris is modelling it today, when we were looking to move offices, we went out to our ambassadors and said, right, tell us, what's your shopping list for the features in a new office? What kind of things are you looking for? Where would you like it to be? What facilities are important to you? So that's just a real kind of tangible example of how we like to involve our people in key decisions that are going to impact their employment and their relationship with their employer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think another example would be we had our very first early careers program last year. So we had 6 new HR graduates joining us. And midway through their onboarding, we established that their learning style was more by doing rather than listening. So we actually adapted the program whilst it was in flight in response to their feedback. So again, we carry on listening even when we think we've got something right. It's great that you can always constantly evolve it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. And do you know, I said right at the beginning of this short stream that we kind of acknowledge that the purpose of us doing this right now, I mean, yes, it's to admit that, you know, we're very, very proud of being in the top 10 for medium organizations in the whole of the UK. But I think it's also for us, we know that no business is perfect. We know that we don't get everything right all of the time.
Yeah.
But I think what's really, really important is that element of listening. We talked about it earlier, like how do you listen to your people? And we do talk about it at exec level. Like every time we get any results out, we talk about it. It takes up a big chunk of our management meetings. So it's like, how are our people feeling? Like, what can we do? And sometimes there are things that you can do. There are ways in which you can engage people, or you can work harder to engage people. And sometimes there are things that you just simply can't do because of, you know, market conditions or whatever it is. But I think what's really, really important, and it's one of the things that I reflect on when thinking about previous works as well, is having an organization that does acknowledge right at the top of the business. It's really, really important, isn't it, that leaders at the top of the business are acknowledging, okay, this is what's going on, this is how our people are feeling, like what can we do, what are the things that we can do, what are the levers that we can pull to try and drive engagement.
Absolutely, and particularly in an organization like ours where our people are our business.
Yeah, 100%. We are just about to wrap up because we're on 16 minutes now on this short live stream. Is there anything sort of finally that you wanted to pick up on just as we wrap up today?
I mean, I think one of the things that we always try to make our people feel included. We're always open to new ideas, whether that's through our DEI, through our CSR groups, or through lots of different initiatives that are going on internally. So there's all sorts of stuff that people can get involved in, organising events, organising our annual offsite, all sorts of things going on. We also have a weekly all hands call on a Wednesday morning where the whole company and some of our associates get together to share knowledge, to share ideas, to give business updates. And we also have quarterly updates from our exec team where we're really transparent about how the business is doing, what we can all do to make a difference, and things that are coming up in the pipeline. So people really feel like they're going on the journey with us, we hope.
Yeah, certainly. Abby, amazing to get just 15, 16, 17 minutes to have a chat with you today. So thank you very much. Thank you very much to those who have listened. If you want to find out more, or if you want to talk to us about, you know, some of the initiatives that we've got, you know, we're always open to new ideas and we're always happy to share some of the things that we're doing. And if anyone's been able to take away any tidbits that they can use and take back to their business, then that's great stuff. Abby, thank you very much for joining me on this live stream today.
Pleasure. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much. See you guys later.